going over to Miami. It is their first pick, and they're picking at 11, and they are going to go with LSU cornerback Mansoor Delane. Is that how you say his name?
Yes, Mansoor Delane. So I have the Dolphins going with the cornerback here. They just ended up trading Jalen Waddle over to the Broncos, so I think there was a little bit of debate on whether or not they would go with a corner this early or a receiver this early. I decided to go with a corner because I think the elite corners, they run out a little bit faster than elite receiver talent. I think there's enough depth in this draft where you can find a good receiver in the second and the third round, and you can't really find a good corner in the second or the third round. I think Delane is the perfect pick for them. Their secondary is really lacking, especially after they just traded Mika Fitzpatrick to the Jets. They traded Jalen Ramsey not long ago to the Steelers. Delane, he's quick. He's an outside cornerback. He's exactly what they need. He has great ball skills, great instincts, and he can start for both press coverage, off coverage. He's the full package. So I think he adds a really good dimension to the Dolphins' defense.
Now let's head over to Dallas. Jerry Jones, who's he gonna take? I feel like he's been having some good hits recently. I feel like he's been doing pretty good, honestly. I feel like he's been a little overhated as of late. Maybe I'm alone on that take, but anyways, he's going to go ahead and take Tennessee cornerback Jermod McCoy.
Yep, so I have Dallas going with McCoy here. There's questions on the medical, but I think it's the same thing here for Jordan Tyson. It takes one team, and I think that one team is going to be Dallas. Dallas needs to upgrade on the defense, and they need to do it really bad, especially the secondary. Jermod McCoy, without the injury last season, the ACL tear, he's the best corner in this class, and he likely goes in the range of where Derek Stingley and Sauce Gardner went a few years ago, likely in the top six. He's a shutdown corner. He's for certain a first round talent, and he's fantastic in press coverage, which is exactly what you look for in a number one corner. So I think the Cowboys, they have to take a big swing here, and Jermon McCoy is the best player on the board, and you just have to take the risk.
Yeah, he looks like a superstar, and he would be pretty fun to watch in that Cowboys uniform. Now let's head over to the LA Rams, who are already, I feel like really good. They're really set. But they do have a really early first-round pick here, and you have them taking wide receiver out of USC, Makai Lemon. And I just think, how much help could Matt Stafford possibly need? I feel like he already has. Puka Nacua, the best receiver in the league, in my opinion, and then Devontae Adams. How much help could Matt Stafford possibly need with this pick?
Yep, so I have the Rams going with Makai Lemon, and it's mainly because of Devontae Adams' age. Devontae Adams eventually is going to hit a wall. Father time comes for everyone.
Yeah.
Makai Lemon, Puka Nacua plays on the outside. Devontae Adams plays on the outside. Makai Lemon fits in the slot perfectly. They lost Tutu Atwell in free agency. Makai Lemon can then slot in where Tutu Atwell leaves a void. He doesn't have great size. He doesn't have great athleticism. But when you're playing behind Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, and eventually only Puka Nacua, I think the Rams will be fine with that. But yeah, he has really good body control, really good football IQ. He's basically the next coming of Amon-Ra St. Brown. He'll likely play a lot in the slot.
Yeah.
Really good at the catch point.
Great
He'll likely
comparison.
operate mostly inside the numbers. I think this is the perfect pick for the Rams because it's insurance. Devontae Adams, not only the age thing, but with age comes more injuries. And the Rams are really loading up this year because they know that Stafford is not immortal. He probably has another year or two left in the tank, and they're trying to get everything that they can out of Stafford.
Well, I'll just say that Rams offense would probably put up 35 points a game.
Certainly scary.
Yeah, terrifying. And now the Ravens are picking. They have the 14th pick, and they're going to go with a tackle out of Utah, Spencer Fano. Is that how you say it?
Yes, Spencer Fano. So he's a little bit undersized, and the reason I have the Ravens taking him is because he'll likely project as a guard at the NFL level. The Ravens right now are fine at tackles with Ronnie Stanley and Roger Rosengarten. I think they'll take Spencer Fano and kick him into guard, one of their guard spots. The interior of their offensive line is awful. They've now also lost their center and Tyler Linderbaum,
Yeah.
so they really need to fortify the interior of the offensive line and get Lamar some help in that area. So Spencer Fano, the biggest knock on him is against elite teams. he didn't put a lot on film. He doesn't look great against top-tier edge rusher talent in the FBS, but he's a really good athlete. He's got good explosiveness, really good fluidity, really good balance, which is a good sign, especially for pass protection. He's probably best fit in an outside zone scheme, which is what the Ravens run. So I think Spencer Fano is a really good fit here for Baltimore, who really needs to upgrade their offensive line.
Good pick, good pick. They definitely do need to do that. Now we move to the Buccaneers, who are going to take the speedster tight end out of Oregon, Kenyon Sadiq. That would be also very fun to watch.
Yeah, so Sadiq is a fantastic tight end. He's ideal for what you want in the first round. He's a really good blocker. He's a really good receiver. So he can align all over the formation. He can align as an X receiver. He can align on the inline. He can block as an offensive lineman, basically. His college production was a little bit limited, but his upside is fantastic. So he fits really well here in the middle of the first round for the Buccaneers, who just lost Mike Evans. They need another big body. Emeka Egbuka is a little bit smaller. Chris Godwin is a little bit smaller, and you also don't know what's going to happen with Godwin coming off another injury. You don't know if he's going to be the same receiver. Kenyon Sadiq is versatile, so you can use him wherever. If you need another receiver, he projects there really well as well. So Kenyon Sadiq, I think, is a home run pick for the Buccaneers, who need to add to their receiver room.
All right, and going now to the Jets. Is this their second pick, I believe, of the first round? Who did they take with the first one again?
Arvell Reese.
Arvell Reese, that's right. All right, so they're going to go ahead and take an offensive player, a tackle out of Penn State. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his first name. Ione Olavega.
Yep.
Is that how you say it?
Yes. So we have Ione going to the Jets here. This is a fantastic player for the New York Jets. The Jets need to build the trenches because they're nowhere close to contention, as I mentioned when we were on the clock with the second overall pick. Ione is a very physical player. He's explosive. He can line up all over the line. You see him. He can work in any scheme. He can work in a gap scheme. He can work in a power scheme. We saw him at Penn State. They put him all over the line. They ran him in a lot of counter, GT counter. Ione is really able to just power through defenders and open up the gaps, not only in the run game, but also in pass protection. If the quarterback needs to take off, he creates gaps in the line there. So he's really good in pass protection. He ranked in the 90th percentile in pass protection. And then in the 95th percentile on 5 and 7 step dropbacks for the quarterback. So across 311 pass blocking snaps, he allowed just 4 total hurries. So he really is a force on the line. It's really hard to get past Ione. And Elijah Vera Tucker left for the Patriots in free agency, so they have a guard spot to fill. I think Ione really can fit there nicely, fortify the offensive line prior to selecting a quarterback likely in 2027.
Absolute unit Ione is. Now going to the Lions, we're going to have back-to-back tackles here taken. Is that back-to-back? Yeah. We're going to have back-to-back tackles here taken, and Georgia's Monroe Freeling.
Yep, so Monroe Freeling, he has a really high ceiling. There's been a lot of talks of him going as high as number 6 to the Browns if they remain at that pick. I think that's a little bit high. I think that information is also a little bit fabricated. But I think here at 17, he's the perfect spot for Freeling right here to the Lions. He has really good size for the position, but he's not as experienced as some of the other offensive linemen in this draft. So he's really well suited for a zone-heavy scheme, which is exactly what the Lions are going to be running under new offensive coordinator Drew Petzing, but he really needs to continue to get in the weight room, develop his strength and his anticipation to be able to reach his starting potential.
Gotcha. Now the Vikings will pick, and we are just over halfway through this first round draft. If you guys are enjoying this video, make sure you like and subscribe and comment down below if you want to see more of the same type of stuff. Also, if you guys want to see some draft reactions, if you're liking Jake's analysis, make sure you comment all that down below. We really appreciate it. Now, moving on to the Vikings pick, they're going to go with defensive lineman out of Clemson, Peter Woods.
I think this is probably one of the most surprising picks of the first round. I think a lot of people have penciled in one of the two safeties, either Dylan Thieneman or McNeil Warren here to
Yeah,
the
like
Vikings.
Harrison. Yeah.
Yes, but I think to the contrary, the Vikings lost a lot on defense. On the defensive line this offseason. They lost Javon Hargrave. They're likely going to be moving off Jonathan Grenard. They need to fortify the defensive line, and this is a really deep safety class. I think Brian Flores is more of a he knows where the premium positions are, and I think he's going to go after those. I think Peter Woods is the best defensive interior lineman on the board here. He had a little bit of regression this past season at Clemson, but I think that was a result of the whole Clemson defense taking a step back. If the draft was a year ago, Peter Woods would have been a top 10 pick. So Peter Woods is one of the most well-rounded defensive interior linemen in this draft. He has a really good blend of size, strength, athleticism. One of the biggest things is he has a great first step. He's really explosive, and he's really able to penetrate off the edge and off the interior really well. He has lined up at edge. He's lined up at interior, so he offers a little bit of versatility. I think Brian Flores will appreciate that, knowing the style of his coordination. The only thing is when he is stuffed at the line, he does not have the best arsenal of um, counter moves. So he needs to work on shedding blocks a little bit. But I think Peter Woods is probably the best player available here for a Minnesota Vikings team that really needs to fortify their defensive line because they will be in contention this year. So they cannot go into this year with a lack of interior linemen because then they're going to get ran all over.
Yeah, I agree. Now the Panthers are up. Both of you and I are. Well, I don't know. Are you from Charlotte? You're from Chicago?
Charlotte, basically.
Charlotte, basically. But Carolina is up, and you have them taking a receiver.
hmm
Omar Cooper Jr. out of Indiana. I find this interesting because I think Ted McMillan, I think Jalen Coker, I think they're already pretty good receivers. I'm just interested in why you have them investing so high in the wide receiver position.
I think that the Panthers need to go out and they need to get another weapon for Bryce Young. If Kenyon Sadiq was here, he likely would have been the pick,
Yeah,
but he's not. Omar Cooper here is the pick for me, and the reason he's the pick for me is because Tedero McMillan is a really good X receiver. He's really good on the boundary. He's really good at the catch point, really good in contested catch situations. Where he's not great is over the middle of the field, getting separation using speed. Omar Cooper is really everything you can ask for in a wide receiver too, and his biggest NFL comparison is DJ Moore. DJ Moore is a really good receiver all over the field. That's exactly what Omar Cooper Jr. is. He's a really good receiver all over the field.
yeah.
He has
I
a really
like
dense,
I like
very strong hands.
Jarvis Landry too.
Yes, Jarvis Landry is another one. Yeah. So very dense frame, very strong hands, which I think is best suited over the middle of the field. And that I think is really where the Panthers are lacking. So you have Ted on the outside, you have Omar Cooper Jr. operating over the middle. I think that is the perfect combination because one is not going to take away from the other. It's not like you're throwing another true X receiver such as Denzel Boston next to Tedero McMillan. That is where I think you could find some issues. I think Omar Cooper Jr. is the perfect complement to Tedero McMillan as their number 2 wide receiver. And Bryce Young has taken a step forward in each of his first 3 NFL seasons. I think getting him another weapon will help him take a step forward in his 4th.
Cowboys are back up, and you have them taking edge out of Auburn, Kendrick Falk.
Yep, Keldrick Falk is the pick for me here for the
Keldrick, my
Cowboys.
bad. That's such an interesting
Yes.
name. I've never heard that name before.
So Keldrick Falk, he has a really good combination of length and strength. Everything is there as far as the numbers off the field. It's mainly about what he puts on film and what the stats look like on the field. He had 7.5 sacks 2 years ago at Auburn, but he took a little bit of a step back this year. He's really good at generating power and getting through the offensive line using power. The reason he took a little bit of a step back at Auburn this year was because he became the focal point of the Auburn defense. So he faced a little more double teams, and as well as seeing the play side of the offense shift away from his side of the field. which limited his production as far as sacks and tackles go. However, if you look at the film, he's still penetrating the offensive line well. The sack numbers and the tackle numbers just aren't there. As once he gets into the NFL, he's not going to be seeing double teams at the rate he saw them at Auburn, mainly because he'll be playing next to much better talent in the NFL. He'll be the second best pass rusher or third best pass rusher on the team, and he won't be game planned against the way he was at Auburn. I think Keldrick Falk is a really high upside pick. He's only 21 years old, and he's exactly what the Cowboys need, because the Cowboys need upside. If they hit him, it'll really help reshape their defense.